How's it going, folks? Welcome to a very special predictions here for the Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guide. Here with me, Dave Cullen, and of course Daragh Maher. Now, so we're settling in now to the predictions for WarGames and Survivor Series, and to be fair, the hype gone into this has actually been, you know how we always complain about the go-home shows, like especially lately, whereas you know, it seems like it's definitely picked it up for it lately, hasn't it?
Yeah, like we talk about on the show, like I think it's the first time a go-home show for a WWE pay-per-view has actually been exciting.
Exactly, and from all areas as well. Like, you know, Raw and SmackDown have been good, but NXT's been awesome as well. So it's definitely, we're watching a lot to talk about, of course. Like, you know, obviously a lot of changes have been coming to Survivor Series, which is unfortunate. We'll get onto that in our main show, and we'll be putting up later on this week. But at the same time, it's still a class card from start to finish. Do you feel, though, the way that it's been changed, that it sort of takes the impact away from it in a way, like despite all the lead up to it?
There's definitely less hype.
Yeah.
But they're trying their best with the stuff they did on SmackDown to hype it up a little in other ways. You know, with the whole Daniel Bryan thing.
Of course.
So, but, you know, I'm definitely more invested in this show than I was 2-3 weeks ago.
Absolutely.
And that hasn't changed just because Becky got injured or anything like that. It's still got me interested, you know?
Certainly on the back of a certain show that we will not mention, that like where all the momentum of WWE's pay-per-views were sort of out the window. It certainly has brought that back into, yes, we can finally get excited about these types of shows again. You know what I'm trying to mean? In a sense where
show?
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. On that note, let's get straight to it. Well, first of all, I'll talk about NXT WarGames, the second WarGames done by NXT, and we'll get cracking first of all with the Women's Championship match. The final chapter, if you like, the 2 out of 3 falls match between champion Shayna Baszler and the challenger Kairi Sane. So, Daragh, who have you got for this one?
It's tough. It shouldn't be. Obviously, because Shayna Baszler just won the title. But Shayna Baszler won the title after Kairi Sane just won the title.
Exactly. So it's sort of like a Charlotte Sasha thing from a few years ago.
It's kind of it is a hot potato right now.
No, that's a bad thing. I mean,
it's.
Well, let me say this to you once. Do you mind if title hot potatoes, depending on the rivalry? I'm not sure you're a fan of it in general, but
not really. No. I think a title change is the payoff. Like it is. It culminates in a rivalry, whether it's the end of it or it could be maybe the start of it, you know. But I feel that it needs maybe one title change, you know. Well, in this one, I'm gonna go with Shayna Baszler.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that she's gonna win 2-1, and I think it's just because we've seen the growing influence of Yasmin Duke and Maria Shafir. 2 other members of the 4 Horsewomen, that I think they will get involved again. Now, I would not be surprised to see someone like Lo Shirai come out in Kairi Sane's corner as well.
Why not?
But I think the numbers game will just prove too difficult, and I think Shayna Baszler will take the title and keep the title.
Well, you mentioned Io Shirai, but you don't forget there's rumours of Mia Yim being involved as well, because
hasn't she got a thing going on with Bianca Belair on?
Yes, true, but like that was just maybe a once-off for that match. Like we'll talk about that more when we get to talk about NXT. But like they've been doing 3-on-3s and house shows.
Yeah,
for NXT. It's really even odds anyway.
Wouldn't the best thing possible, because probably I'm guessing someone like Maya Yim will probably be the next one up to challenge.
Possibly.
Would the best thing to do is to keep her away? To not have her associate with Kairi Sane, so she can just be the fresh challenger by herself?
Perhaps. Like, regardless of the result, like depending how the result goes, maybe you're right. But whatever the case, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go with Sane on this one to regain the title, also on 2-1. Yes, you're right. You have Duke and Shafir in
these matches normally end 2-1 as well. I know there was one. I think it was a tag team match, wasn't it? It was a tag team 2 or 3 falls match, I think, with the Usos and the New Day. I think the Usos won like 2-0 or something like that. That's the only time I've ever seen it be 2-0, you know.
It's very rare, yeah.
It's very rare that it's not like 2-1.
So I have a feeling that obviously I definitely agree that Duke and Shafira would get involved, but they'll probably be thrown up by the ref. Maybe when it's 1-1, and then like the deciding factor will be there. I just feel Sane will somehow overcome. Don't ask me how, but we'll see what happens. Now to probably there's a lot of good matches, but this one is probably the biggest grudge match.
There's only 4.
I know,
which is crazy.
But it's because probably of the length of some of the matches, like, you know, which we'll get into. Like this match in particular, Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano.
Yeah,
this is really a pick'em match. All of them are really pick'ems.
It's so tough. It's kind of like, what are they going to do next after it, really? Sort of influences your decision. Obviously, with the Gargano promo last week. Sorry, excuse me. Long work week. You know, he talked about how it wasn't anything personal with Aleister Black.
Right.
He was in the way of him getting to Ciampa.
Yeah, it was collateral damage, as he said.
Exactly. So obviously we know Gargano wants to go after Ciampa. But Aleister Black now wants revenge for what happened to him. It's a tough one. Like, Johnny's been on a bit of a losing streak when it comes to takeovers now the last while as well.
He has, actually. You're right. He's lost the last
3.
Has it been the last 3? No, he beat Ciampa at the WrestleMania one. He lost to Ciampa.
He did, and then he lost the next 2. You're right. Yeah. He lost the next 2.
So, but he's been 3-1 this year at takeovers. Yeah. Sorry, 1-3. Excuse me. So you feel he's due a win?
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to get it. I think it's going to be Aleister Black.
Me too.
I think Aleister Black is going to beat him, and then he'll go on to face the champ, whoever that may be. And Gargano can always be there as well.
Well, Black could still win, and then Gargano will viciously attack him again after the match, maybe.
Possibly, or maybe next week on NXT or something like that. Where it continues Johnny's path to full heel sort of thing, maybe.
And certainly if this match gives Black the credentials, or certainly the recognition of being the number 1 contender for the NXT title, and Gargano takes him out again, collateral damage, nothing personal, it puts him in the picture to what he wants, and that's to beat Ciampa for the title, which is his ultimate goal in the end. Speaking of Ciampa, let's move on to his match. He'll be challenged by the Velveteen Dream for his NXT Championship match.
I'd love to say Velveteen Dream's going to win this.
Me too.
I would love nothing more. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because NXT do pull out these shocks.
Exactly. They've had a few this year. They've had a few this year with or last year I should say, like in particular in fact this time last year, in fact, is when
Cien
Almas beat Drew McIntyre.
But he was injured though.
Whatever the case, like it's still a shock. Yeah, it's true, he was injured, but at the same time it doesn't take away the shock of value of it.
I don't know. I think there's more in it with Ciampa being the champ at the moment, especially with the previous match and how that's going to go.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Ciampa to retain. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe even a DQ finish where Johnny actually goes after Ciampa and the referee sees it and disqualifies him and gives Velveteen Dream the win.
So Dream by disqualification.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not going to go that in depth.
Yeah,
Ciampa will retain, and I think he'll get the pin.
I'm going to go with a Ciampa pin as well. I say it'll be a more competitive match. I find that maybe Ciampa would underestimate Dream a bit, despite what happens last week and NXT when he eventually got the better of him.
Yeah.
So, but you never know, Johnny could get involved. Which is we'll go with the Ciampa pinfall on that. And the main event, the second ever WarGames match in WWE between the Undisputed Era, all 4 members, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish, to take on the team of Ricochet, Pete Dunne and War Machine. That is a pick'em. It is,
but maybe not as much of a pick'em as you think.
How do you mean?
I don't know. I will fancy. I fancy the War Raiders and Ricochet and Dunne to win.
Okay.
The Ricka Dunne Raiders.
The Ricka Dunne Raiders.
The Ricadon Raiders. Yeah. Yeah, I think last year it was Undisputed Era who won it. They had their moment. They came up. They put them in the limelight as saying that we're here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we're going to see for these other guys. The likes of the War Raiders just need to show that they're here now, and it sets up for tag team title matches in the future.
100%.
And I think that's the way we're going to go.
I agree. Who do you have pinning who in the end?
I'm going to have Pete Dunne to pin Roderick Strong just for that storyline.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense. I have Ricochet pinning Kyle O'Reilly. I think it'd be more random than you may think, but I like your idea behind it. Certainly, since it was Roderick Strong who turned on Pete Dunne.
Yeah,
God, it was ages ago now since that happened.
Yeah,
but yeah, like especially I would rather go pick Ricochet and Dunne and War Raiders simply because I think there's strong rumours now. There's a very strong possibility of the Undisputed Era being called up.
I wouldn't think so. Not just yet. Maybe after Mania.
It could be easily towards the Rumble. Where they lose the titles and maybe appear then.
Yeah, they might appear at the Rumble, but because we've seen. Did they appear at the last Rumble?
Adam Cole was at the Rumble last year. Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah,
he was. You're right. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, bandaged up after losing to Aleister Black.
Yeah.
So it's a strong possibility. So we'll have to see what happens. Now let's move on to Survivor Series. So apparently now the tag team match has been announced for the pre-show. Do you know that?
There's a tag team match for the pre-show?
The tag team Survivor Series match is going to be...
Is on the pre-show.
Is on the pre-show, yeah. I honestly don't mind that, considering it's actually putting the Cruiserweight title match not on the... Which I'd rather it happen for a change.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's the match anyway. So representing Team Raw, you have Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, The Revival, B-Team, Lucha House Party and The Ascension. Representing Team SmackDown, The Usos, New Day, Sanity, Gallows and Anderson and The Colognes.
I'm going to go with Team SmackDown on this.
Okay.
Because they have the better team of people.
100%, I totally agree.
There's a load of just teams that are just mashed together. You got the B team. The Lucha House Party are suddenly now on this team. And they've only been on Raw a week.
I'm okay with that.
I know. It just shows how little tag teams are on Raw. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
That's true.
What tag teams are actually going to be on the Raw team?
Look at all these teams, okay? Only maybe 2 of these teams on Raw have always been tag teams. That's the Revival and the Ascension. Grand Metalik, the Lucha House Party came together through 205. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable only teamed very recently.
Yeah.
B Team were brought together by The Miz. All these pretty much all of these teams, as far as I can tell, like certainly have had long enough, or put together, or at least have had long enough time together to be an established tag team.
Yeah. Like
Sanity have been there with each other forever. The Colognes more or less forever. Gallows and Anderson gone back to Japan. You know, the Usos forever, and the New Day have been there for 4 or 5 years now. So
yeah, they haven't been doing much for 4 or 5 years now.
I presume you're being sarcastic by that.
They haven't really. They won the tag team titles once.
The New Day.
No, Gallows and Anderson.
Oh, I thought you meant the New Day, Mickey.
No, Gallows and Anderson.
But anyway, yeah. So you're going with SmackDown. So who's going to survive, and who's going to pin who? So that's how we'll do it. So who pins who and who survives? Is it just one survivor or several?
Is it the case if one member of the team gets pinned, both members of the team are gone?
Yes.
Okay. Then.
So, for example, if I
think this would be a great chance for Sanity.
Yes.
To help them. So I'm going to say they're going to be the surviving members, and they will pin the team of... Because they've been thrown in the match late, I think they might go far, so I'm going to say the Lucha House Party. Okay.
So you're going to say the Sanity are the last surviving team? Oh, just by themselves to pin Lucha Underground?
Yep.
It's an interesting call. Who pins who?
Not Lucha Underground. Lucha House Party.
Lucha House Party, who... Can you understand
yeah, I can.
It's not even called Lucha Underground anymore. It's called Ultimate Lucha.
Is it?
Yeah. I hardly ever watch it, to be fair. But who pins who? So who from Sanity pins who from Lucha House
I don't
Party?
even know who's going to be in the match with Sanity.
So it's either Alexander Wolf.
Yeah, I'm talking about which three of them.
It could be any of them. Like
that's the thing.
See, I'm
going to go Eric Young.
Eric Young pins.
Eric Young will pin.
Lindsay Dorado, Kalisto, Grand Metalik.
Lindsay Dorado.
Okay, it's okay.
It's like basically putting your hand in a haystack and picking out 2 random pieces of hay.
I'm gonna go with
for that needle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with both the Usos and the New Day surviving.
Okay.
So I have two survivors from SmackDown to win. Because I just feel like they're easily the 2 strongest teams in that whole thing. Now, not that they should be overpowering. Like we saw New Day quickly get eliminated 2 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
So there's no guarantee for it, but I predict the Usos and New Day, which seem to be a lot on the same page, mainly because they're on SmackDown, I guess. And I would predict Jimmy Uso will pin Chad Gable. I believe the Gable and Rude will be Raw's last team.
Okay.
So we'll go with that. We'll follow on.
I forgot they were in the match.
Yeah, we'll follow on with the Cruiserweight title now. Buddy Murphy will defend his Cruiserweight title against Mustafa Ali. This is tougher
I'm happy
than
it's
you think.
on the main show.
I hope it is anyway. Like so,
Well, I think it's been announced that it will be.
the SmackDown tag, or at least the tag elimination match, is a big enough match where it shouldn't take two. It's long enough to fill the show.
Yeah.
Who have you got? Again, it's not an easy one because Ali is.
I'm going to go with Buddy Murphy. He's been fantastic as champ. We're going to see a great match between these two again.
100%.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Buddy Murphy to win by pin.
My heart says Ali on this because I'd love to see Ali become champion, but Buddy Murphy is doing so well as champion,
and he hasn't had it that long.
It's true, and you know nowadays it seems like a good long reign is the way to go. But you somehow you'd like it to be Ali rather than Murphy.
Now, what I wouldn't be surprised by how things are going with Buddy Murphy, that he could drop the title and move up to the main roster, because he moved the Lucha House Party up.
That's very true, and especially considering how amazing his performances have been. And the difference with he's a genuine cruiserweight, whereas Buddy Murphy is having probably to cut weights pretty much to be a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
But that said, I'm going to go with Murphy as well to retain the title. It's going to be probably easily the most the match that could easily steal the show as well.
Yeah,
it's that type of match, because it was Murphy and Alexander that, for my money, was the best match at their Super Showdown. This has every chance of doing that as well, and it's a good opportunity for as well, because this is how 205 Live has been stepping up since post Enzo Amore, of how they've been putting on good show, and how they're really stepping up their efforts. It's really becoming now like if they have that same draw that maybe, let's say, the WCW Cruiserweights had back in the day, they'd be doing extremely well for themselves. So, and this is their opportunity to do that, and they're two performers. They couldn't be better to be positioned in that. So
exactly,
from a very broad roster as well, like, you know, like when you look at it as well. So so it's definitely an exciting match. Now we'll move on to the Raw Tag Champions versus the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So we have on one corner the Raw Tag Champions AOP against the SmackDown Champions, The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus.
I think it's going to be a big story of not just the tag teams, but the valets on the outside.
That's true. The big show is with The Bar and, of course, Drake Maverick, which is is with AOP, and that's literally the smallest man versus as the biggest man.
Exactly.
As valets. So, like, Drake Maverick's can't be up.
I think this could be a big statement moment for AOP.
I agree.
So I'm going to go with them to win. I think Drake Maverick might do something like this small guy does, you know, like we did with Leo Rush during the week and stuff. So they might do something like that. I think, I think it's going to be a statement win for AOP.
I agree. Like, I think now is their time. They haven't really had since they've been brought up to the main roster, they haven't really had the chance to break out as such to the main roster, and I think this is their chance now. So, and against a very established team in Cesaro and Sheamus. So yeah, I'm with you 100%. So I'm going to go Razor to pin Sheamus on this one.
Yeah. Why not? Because I can never really tell the AOP apart.
I'm still not sure myself. I think Razor has more hair. Oh, he has that more hair now. He has that Randy Orton type haircut now. I feel like so.
He looks weird with hair. Then you're saying
that's it. Yeah. Well, it's hard because, like, you know,
that's the way Randy Orton looked. He always looked weird with hair.
I know, but he was always buzzed hair until recently. Yeah. It's the power of a minute now. Like, you know. Yeah. We'll move on anyway. We'll move on now to the Intercontinental Champion versus US Champion match now between Seth Rollins against Shinsuke Nakamura. Again, another match that I think now it's probably a match that not many people realise, mainly because of the whole situation between Rollins and Ambrose.
Yeah.
Which again I imagine would be a factor in this match.
I think it is. That's why I'm going to go with Nakamura.
Exactly the same.
I think Ambrose is going to do something to Dean to Seth, I should say, to distract him. And I think that will cause a momentary distraction. Like I said, will cause the momentary distraction enough for Knee to face, which will obviously cause Seth to be knocked out cold.
I agree. Now, here's the thing. Because this type of match as well, because it's Seth versus Nakamura, which is a first, it's never been seen before, is there the possibility that it becomes too much of an emphasis of the match? Like do you hope? Like, I personally hope that I would love if the illusion of Ambrose doesn't take away from the match.
There was no lingering sort of storyline or no lingering presence around the match to possibly distract it.
But more to the point,
this is probably one of the matches we've wanted to see for a while.
Exactly, it's a dream match. So let that be a dream match before something happens. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, if it has a weird finish with Ambrose, that's not the worst thing. If it's good, if it's good up to that point.
I think that's what we're gonna get. I
hope so.
I think we'll get that sort of like maybe we'll get the match that we want, and then we'll get the messy finish.
Okay. We'll move on now to the women's 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, representing Team Raw, Mickie James, Nia Jax. No, I say that with such reluctance, I apologise. Tamina, Natalia and Ruby Riott, with Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan as valets. And against Team SmackDown, Carmella, Naomi, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and a person yet to be confirmed for SmackDown.
A call-up?
Possibility.
After Kairi Sane loses.
Oh, well, again, it could be easily Baszler or Sane.
Why would they go up there? If they're going up, they're going to Raw with Rousey.
Well, that would be Baszler. So you reckon SmackDown? If it's Sane, she goes to SmackDown.
Yeah, you could say Asuka like speaks in Japanese, and she's really saying, "I have a friend. I know where she's going to come along." Yeah. Now, saying that, Sonya Deville's in it, isn't she? It's probably going to be a cop-out, like it's going to be Mandy Rose.
It could be, but it could also be Nikki Cross.
Good call.
Especially because she made her
we haven't seen her since
lately.
The SmackDown debut.
And she hasn't, and ever since that match with Bianca, with who should she face? Ever since that match with Bianca Belair in NXT, she hasn't
been heard from or spoken about.
We don't know anything that's going on further on in NXT. As far as we're aware, we don't know if she's going to have any. We didn't mention actually if Nikki Cross will have any sort of say or participation in this match again between Black and Gargano on NXT. And let's not forget, there is still that lingering possibility of her against Candice LeRae. So maybe not so much, but you never know.
Yeah.
Again, who said you can't double shift? But if you had to predict someone to be on that team, who would it be?
Now that you said it, Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross, you'd want to see, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Nikki Cross. That's a great call.
I'm gonna. My head says, my heart says Cross, but realistically, I probably will say Mandy Rose.
Probably someone like Mandy Rose.
It could be, yeah. So out of that, who do you think will win?
Raw have actually won the last two Women's Survivor Series matches, so I think it's time for SmackDown to win.
I agree.
Third time's a charm. I know, like, there's some they have the size advantage. Raw do with Tamina and Nia Jax.
Never ever the guarantee of winning.
No, never.
The largest team I remember lost.
Yeah.
In a Survivor Series match. That was, remember...
And it always makes for like a comedy sort of, elimination.
Yeah, do you think... do you remember Survivor Series 2003? Which is actually a severely underrated Survivor Series, if you look back.
I don't remember 3 o'clock.
Remember going back 3 o'clock?
Yeah, no, because you said... Just go ahead anyway. Go ahead.
Didn't get that. But anyway, the men, the one of the Survivor Series matches was Kurt Angle's team. I think it was Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, John Cena, Hardcore Holly, and someone else. I think it was, I actually can't remember. I think it was, actually haven't a clue. But compared to Brock Lesnar's team, which had him, Nathan Jones, Matt Morgan, The Big Show, and the A-Train.
Jeez, remember Nathan Jones?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm trying to remember who the other person from, I think it was Bradshaw or something like that. So he was still a face.
Yeah.
But anyway, so who are you going for this? So who do you think will be the sole survivor, or who will pin who?
Sole Survivor.
Let's not forget there's going to be a bit of friction in Team Raw as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2 Sole Survivors.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, you know what could happen?
What?
SmackDown need a person, and Bayley and Sasha Banks have been getting tortured by Alexa Bliss because she made them fight each other to be on a team.
Yeah.
And who won that match? Wasn't it Bayley? I think won that match.
It was no contest.
It was a double elimination,
double disqualification,
and
Alexa Bliss put Ruby Riott in the match.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them came over.
Oh, to SmackDown?
Yeah.
That's a good call as well. But who? Yes, it has to be one. It can't be both.
Sasha.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
It could be either one or the other.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, I don't think.
Probably not. I think that sounds a little too messy. I'll be honest with you.
You never know.
I think it just sounds like, because do you move them over properly? Like, I think it could just be messy, unless one of the other members of Team SmackDown gets injured before the match starts.
Well, let's not forget that, like, you know, I think although Raw's women's division has picked up a lot lately, it really has, especially with the presence of Rousey. I think if they lost either Banks or Bayley to SmackDown, which in my opinion is probably overall is the one you want to watch more. I suppose that's mainly because of Becky, but at the same time, I think it would be about. Well, then again, I don't know. I'm torn now. I was trying to come up with the arguments that it would be worse. It would be worse for Raw, but then again, SmackDown wouldn't be bad. So,
but anyway, SmackDown to win.
Okay.
And I think the last to be eliminated will be Natalya. Yeah. And then I think the person to eliminate her will be... They seem to like Naomi in these situations, so I'm going to go with Naomi.
Is she sole survivor?
No, I'll keep Asuka in there.
Yeah.
They have a connection, so... I
agree that Asuka and Naomi will be the sole survivors, but I will go with Asuka submitting Ruby Riott last. And Natalya will attack Riott, because if you haven't seen Raw, there's a huge personal rivalry going on between Ruby Riott and Natalya, which is very.
I think that's why I'm going. What Natalya will cause Ruby Riott to get knocked out as a part of her revenge over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but I think it could be a case where it'll be Natalya who costs Ruby Riott or something like that, which could be a bad thing over Raw because she's the only face from Raw on that whole team. Yeah. But at the same time... That's why it kind of screams out she's be the last member. Yeah, possibly, yeah. So I'm going with Riott for that anyway, for that reason anyway, rather than Natalya. We'll move on now to the women's match. Now, unfortunately, it's different from what we hoped for, but then again, it's still an intriguing match between Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and Charlotte from SmackDown. Now, regardless, even though it's not the match we wanted to see, it's still a match that we did want to see before all this stuff happened. And all the anticipation was going into this. We all thought this was the rumour that was going to rumoured main event of WrestleMania. Exactly. So... And I'm not disappointed, but at the same time, I am, because would have liked a better build, you know. Then again, presuming that Becky will be fine by then, Becky and Rousey at WrestleMania. So that's a positive, at least from that. We'll talk about it more later on, but yeah. Do you think Becky's going to get involved? Do you think WWE will allow her to get involved because she has a concussion? She was there despite a concussion on SmackDown, so she won't be involved in the wrestling, obviously, but I imagine she'll be there as a distraction very easily. But that said, I don't think it'll make a difference on the result. I think Rousey will win by submission. I think possibly very Rousey. Competitive match, incredibly competitive match. In fact, it could be like there's so many matches that could be matched tonight, and this could be it actually. No, I wouldn't. I'd be more inclined to give Rollins and Nakamura that tag of potential match of the night, because I don't see, because there was no build for this. Now, to be saying there's not much build for Rollins and Nakamura, but I think Rollins and Nakamura could pull a better match out than Rousey and Charlotte. Well, that's debatable. I think it could easily be a match that's up there. But do you think Becky would be there at all? Whether
She might be there like
during or after the match.
she might be there ringside or something like that, or she might go onto the ramp at some stage.
Maybe.
You might see her backstage talking to Charlotte beforehand,
Yeah.
you know. Or you might see her walk by Rousey or something and say something, but yeah. I was toying with the idea that she might get involved in the match. I don't think she will.
We'll see what happens.
And I think Rousey will win.
I agree. Rousey for win for sure. Yeah. So, to the another change of the card again. All these late changes. I mean, in a way, like it takes, like as we mentioned at the start, it sort of almost takes away from the hype just a little bit. But they're still intriguing matches. You know what I'm trying to say? But not the matches we were hyping up for. Like you know. Yeah. So this is another one. This is where Brock Lesnar, the Universal Champion representing Raw, will take on, instead of AJ Styles, the new WWE Champion instead, Daniel Bryan.
Brock.
In a heel versus heel match. Brock straight away.
Brock.
Yeah, I agree. Do you see it being competitive?
Brock is going back to the UFC soon. They can't have Brock going back to the UFC having been beaten by Daniel Bryan.
I don't think that makes a difference.
I think it does.
Well, who's he going to get beaten then? Braun Strowman?
What? I don't know who's going to get beaten by, but it's not going to be Daniel Bryan.
Well, if whoever he loses to, it's going to be for the Universal title, I think, in the end of the day. I'd like to think... I think it'll be very similar to Brock's match with AJ last year, where it'll be very touch and go until...
What I'd love to see nothing more is to see Daniel Bryan pull out the low blow again before the bell rings, and then to do a flying knee or something
and beat him.
That would be fantastic. I just can't see it happening. I don't think WWE has the balls to do that.
It's interesting because here's the thing, unlike the situation with Rousey and Becky, this feels like it's more planned. So they're not changing something trying to make something out of a little short time like they are with Ronda and Charlotte.
Yeah.
In this case, that the possibility of Bryan winning on those tactics is a strong possibility, especially if they're hyping something like, I don't know, like Bryan takes on Miz, for example, at WrestleMania, which again is severely rumored now after this. Yeah,
Miz wins the Royal Rumble, possibly.
Yeah, which again, we'll talk about in the news. Now that we heard that the winners of the mixed match challenge will be number 30 in the Rumbles.
Yeah.
So, and Miz and Asuka not winning, but they're up there. So we'll see what happens. So Brock to win. In the meantime, I'm with Brock to win as well. Yeah. And finally, the main
submission.
Yeah.
Pin.
And finally, I like to think this is the main event because it was main event last year. The men's 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match representing Team Raw: Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley, with Baron Corbin and Leo Rush in the corners. And representing Team SmackDown: The Miz, Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy. It's a pick'em, as it would be. But consider storyline as well, especially on Raw.
Saying this, I was going to go with SmackDown originally, but that's a clean sweep from SmackDown then. That'd be 3 from 3. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with...
How many survivors are you going to go with?
I'm going to go with Raw.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Raw again to win. You'd have to think Braun's going to be the sole survivor.
I agree. He's going to survive, but he won't be by himself.
I think he will.
I don't think he will.
And I think... I was talking with the idea of Miz
being
Rey Mysterio, just because that difference there, height and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Rey Mysterio to be the last one to be eliminated.
I'm going to go Miz to be the last survivor for SmackDown, with Braun winning, and Drew McIntyre also surviving with him. But here's a hint as well. Considering the sort of rivalry between Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin, what if Corbin costs Strowman and McIntyre ends up being the sole survivor?
It's definitely a possibility.
And considering how strongly I think they're going to push Drew McIntyre, I honestly think he'll be there next year. Yeah. The way he's going. Very strong possibility. But I'm going to stick with Strowman in the meantime, with Drew to pin Miz.
Okay.
So is that yourself?
Yep.
Right then, well, that's all the predictions then for NXT WarGames and Survivor Series. So make sure to check out the space. We'll be putting up our regular show on Saturday as usual. And in the meantime, that's everything from NXT WarGames and Survivor Series. It's, again, a lot of really good matches. We have a hard time deciding all these matches, didn't we? So
yeah, there's a lot of pickums in this.
Far too many for our liking, but that's a good thing. I mean, I like a match that we can't decide, rather than something that's so obvious. Like, as far as I can see, there's probably two matches two or three matches we picked straight away.
Yeah,
pretty much. That's a good thing. And that's what makes Survivor Sing always intriguing. So we'll enjoy it in that case. So until then, until we talk to you in the main show, I've been Dave Cullen. He's been Daragh Maher. This has been The Kickout, your weekly pro wrestling guide. Stay sound.